Hello again. I hope that the introduction video was informative and that you have a better understanding of what relational intelligence actually means. Particularly, remember for you, where you are as grade 10s. Did you know that 95% of the friends that you have now, they're not going to be with you 10 years from now? They are not your ride or die. Literally 95% of your friends that you have now, they are seasonal. Even the ones that you're going to have later, they too are seasonal. They are just convenient because you're in school. Think about it. And guys, let that be okay. Might not make sense now, but you'll understand as you keep growing. Everything in our lives is seasonal. Very few people get to keep their high school friends as lifelong friends. Sometimes, and many others, they reunite later in life, but that's when their journeys align again. And I want to reassure you again that it's okay. It's really okay. Remember, your growth is more important than who comes along with you. In fact, it's crucial. Your life literally depends on this fact. You'd rather walk alone than walk with people who are not aligned with you. And before I share my personal journey, I'd really like to highlight that being alone is also practicing relational intelligence. Knowing yourself well enough to not compromise on the types of friends that you have is just as important as hanging out with the right people. Are you following? For example, I have a friend, her name is Albakwe Musime. She actually wrote a book called Under the Blazer. She wrote about her journey without feeling the need to just be a part of any friend group or to fall, into any cliques as some of us fell under, But of course, she had friends, she had classmates. But what I'm trying to say is that Albakwe never succumbed to the pressure of being in a clique or a friend circle and being accepted. She was just easily considered what you might call a loner, as boring. And as hard as it might have been for her to navigate through this type of experience some days, this friend of mine, she was steadfast in focusing on her own schoolwork and just her own life. But so much so that she outperformed all her peers, literally in every grade. Her classmates were asking her, they're the ones who were asking for her help, especially on subjects that were hard. But as a result, she didn't even get bullied. At some point, I'm guessing the bullies got over her, but she didn't get bullied, nor did she even feel intimidated by these bullies. Why? Because being alone became her superpower. This does not mean that Albakwe was exempt from challenges. It doesn't mean that she wasn't feeling lonely, nor does it mean that she had it easy throughout high school. Absolutely not. If anything, she ended up writing a book about her journey, just like I said. And today, she's even facilitating, going around in schools and sharing her journey and encouraging young girls and boys in school to also deal and navigate as she did, and even heck, do better. And you know what's great about her book right now? It's even been selected to be part of the school curriculum. So the power in this is that Albakwe's assertiveness and just her focus attracted the right friends, the right destiny relationship, as she calls them. She chose her circle very, very wisely. And now, the right friends with who she is aligned with, they came along. It's been almost 10 years and she has published even a second book on top of that. But if you'd like to learn more about her experience, please feel free to do further research on her story. A list of thought leaders, authors, and just people in general, they've written about this topic. For example, Johann Wolfgang said, "Tell me with whom you associate, and I will tell you who you are." There are a number of scriptures from the Bible that even emphasize this fact too. For example, in the book of Proverbs 13, verse 20, it says, "Keep company with the wise, and you will become wise. If you become friends with stupid people, you will be ruined." I'm pretty sure that you guys have heard more than enough about this from your parents as well. This is a principle of life that you cannot escape. Without putting any pressure on you though, I myself had no idea what relational intelligence was, especially when I was your age. When I was in grade 10 years ago, I had no idea, but probably I implemented it without even realizing it. I remember being part of this big group of friends who were more experienced in doing the cool things than I was. And I remember whenever we wanted to attend parties, we'd plan and even, just sneak around and tell our parents that we're doing a sleepover, just so that we can get ready, but knowing very well that there is no sleepover happening there. We are going to have fun. But we also studied together. But despite all the good, there were certain things that forced me to look within and reevaluate how I really spent my time with them and what exactly we were doing. For example, I don't know if you guys have experience about this, but bunking classes used to be a thing for us in high school. And a lot of rebellious kids used to do it, and obviously maybe smoking weed or just being rebellious in school. Those are some of the things that we did. So if you don't feel like attending a class or, just hanging out with your friends, we'd always just find a way to get together. And I remember there was a time where a group of friends were just this is the first time I experienced bunking. A group of friends were just like, "Guys, let's go. We're gonna bunk a specific class." I can't remember what class it was. But I remember just as we were running away from this teacher who I think was, trying to get us into class and maybe potentially get us into detention. I remember just as I'm running, I stopped. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was my conscience, but I literally just stopped and I was like, "Kilebogile, what are you doing? This is not you, girl." I honestly don't know what it was, guys, but I literally I was like, "No, I actually don't want to do this. This doesn't feel like it's as cool as it's been portrayed." And I literally just paused and I turned back and I was like, "I am not joining you guys." And to be honest with you, as I reflect on those types of, experiences as I was a teenager, now that I look back at it, I'm like, heck, actually that was being relationally intelligent, because in as much as I was trying to, feel cool and be accepted in my friend group, I paused and asked myself, how does this make me feel? How important is this for me? And that's where I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do. But obviously, this doesn't always happen. As lame as that seemed for me, to submit under, for instance, the strict guardianship of my grandparents, honestly, it saved me from a lot of distractions and just detrimental experiences. In essence, what made me behave relationally intelligent was basically heeding the voice that came to mind, just challenging me in what I was about to do. As boring as I appeared to everyone walking back to class, I felt true to myself. This is not to say that I never experimented, as we all do in our teenage years, of course. But unlike many other instances where I did things to be accepted, I realized on that day and in that moment that the way I was trying to relate with my friends is just not aligned with how I'm trying to relate with myself. That's all I'm saying. I hope you guys are following with what I'm trying to say. Another example I want to share with you guys is when I was in grade 11. So as you know, this is the year you need to ensure that you basically just pass well to secure your spot in university. And if you don't know, then you need to start getting your things together. But in any case, I was going through a lot in that year. For example, my grandfather, whom I've previously mentioned, has always been just my favorite person since I was a child. And I guess it's because I was the first grandchild into the family. But at that time, he was very, very ill. And my aunt had told us at this time, she said, guys, prepare yourselves because it doesn't look like Papa is going to survive. I, on the other hand, I couldn't imagine life without my grandfather. I just couldn't. And during this time in high school, I'm part of the top 10 that's just gotten selected to go represent the school in London and in Scotland. It was called the Batty Tour. And we had to raise funds, right, to travel on this 10-day trip to London and Scotland. And you get to basically learn. You get the opportunity to learn about the history of our school and also just have a little bit of fun. And, you know, there were teachers who would accompany us. And on top of this, I was in the netball first team, but I had serious anxiety with mathematics. To make matters worse, guys, my maths teacher, she never wasted an opportunity to humiliate me. And every time she checked our homework. So if I didn't do one sum out of 50, whenever my homework was incomplete, most of the time, because maybe I felt stuck with maths work, because I just generally struggled, she would say it is incomplete. And on top of that, she would even just say, quite frankly, she doesn't even understand what type of leader I am, how on earth I even made it to get to the top 10 of making it into the Batty Tour. What type of leader doesn't finish their homework? That's what she'd always say. And honestly, all of these things affected my self-esteem. It affected my self-esteem so severely that it nearly caused me to lose that opportunity of being in the Batty Tour. So to cut a long story short, the school psychologist, because I was always so anxious, I'd have fainting episodes. And I remember having to see her, and she basically had to step in and share with my family and make sure that they support me and that they monitor me, because I, at some point, even ended up in hospital. I'm sharing this with you because despite being part of a group of friends, I felt out of place. If anything, thanks to the Batty Tour, I came very, very close to a girl who was part of the popular girls group. And she was extremely intelligent at the same time. She passed all her subjects extremely well. And just working together with her, just being part of the fundraising team within the Batty Tour fundraising project, we connected, you know, and her and I just became friends, and she even offered to help me with my math. And her helping me, you know, she just obviously would do sleepovers and also just study together, and made sure that at every exam, at every test, you know, I was always there, just making sure that I don't miss anything. But once again, guys, I had no idea that at this time I was practicing relational intelligence, of opting to not be part of my friends, but rather go with her. And this is now from high school. Since high school, this friend of mine and I, we ended up going to the same university, where we studied at the University of Pretoria, and we pursued a lot of things beyond our studies, such as leadership, public speaking, counseling. We did art, we did networking. We had a great time. And at some point, we even lost touch for a short while after university. When I started working, she was also doing her own thing, working. We connected 4 years ago. It has been a total of 10 years since high school. And that girl, her name is Nomta, she's my best friend today. Why? Because the basis of our relationship has always been to challenge one another, to not just grow within school, but to also grow spiritually and in life in general, emotionally, and just in our careers. It's also because we are able to have uncomfortable conversations with ourselves, but also together, that are authentic and true to ourselves. These types of friendships are hard to find, I won't lie, but they're worth the wait. At times, they find us, or we even find them, but we have to want them. That's the most important thing. For as long as you strive to be true to yourself and remain aligned with your personal journey, the right people they will come. But being relationally intelligent with ourselves will always, always be more important than being relationally intelligent with other people. Never ever forget that. That's all for now, guys. Join me in our final session as we wrap our theme of relational intelligence.